Yeah, they are a hot topic. They are. So I'm Diede. I'm a senior software developer at Starfish. Here are some stuff I had to put on the slides. So Starfish is the creator of Hellgate. We solve tricky problems in the payment and banking world. Our products are built for composability, and we are an efficient but still a small team that has an impact. If you want to learn more about Hellgate, you can scan that link and arrive on a web page, I guess. So microservices are cool. For a long time, especially in the non-Beam ecosystems, I can imagine on all the architecture meetings, you had these conversations about microservices. It solves every problem. Like you had the questions about scalability. Let's use microservices. You had questions about team autonomy. Microservices. Maybe you felt bored? Microservices. So when we started building Hellgate, our product, we were like, hell yeah, let's do microservices. The big guys do it. Why we cannot do it? And so microservices, they are cool until they are yours. 2 years after we made this decision, we had all this Kubernetes, Kafka, matches, bursts, all of this like microservice bingo terms you can imagine. But it's a lot of context you need to keep in mind when you're developing, when you're building it. It's just, at some point, it's hard to understand everything. So maybe first we go back to basics. What were microservices? What are they trying to solve? And with my extensive research, i.e. asking ChatGPT, I came to like 4 reasons. Like one of them were they reduce complexity. And this one made me think a bit. How does it reduce complexity? It reduces complexity of the service. So you build a smaller service, so the complexity of that service is less than the complexity of a big service, a monolith, which makes sense. Scalability. They want to scale things differently. Something has bigger load, they want to scale it separately. Fault isolation is one of them, and independent team ownership. And actually, they are valid goals, I can imagine. But the downside is they only work well if you are a 200+ engineering team. A bit of a caveat for this. It's not because you are a 200 engineering team. This means that you need microservices. Like if you just would use the Beam, just imagine what 200 engineering people can do with just the Beam. And we are not a big team, so some fancy transition. We learned it the hard way. So we started building microservices. We had some Kotlin, some Swift. We were typing on our machines, producing boilerplate all day. If you don't see the resemblance, that's me. But in the end, we had a product that worked. And as a team, we were proud of what we achieved. But local development, local testing was becoming a bit of a nightmare. Then we learned some Erlang and Elixir, and we saw what the OTP and Beam has to offer. You basically get concurrency, isolation, and fault tolerances. You get them built in, not bolted on. And this, for me personally, opened my it was crazy. What it could do was crazy. The Beam and OTP, they give you superpowers, so we should use them. It's basically a microservice platform without an ops burden. You can do microservices without network overhead. yeah, if you say it like this, microservices platform, you still need to write good code. It's not because you're writing a monolith that you can just create modules whenever you want. You need to still break things apart. You still need to compose in a functional way modules and functions together. So we really try to focus on building focused processes and modules. And then if you build a good module, you instead of having a separate deployment, you just have a good module. And you don't have any firewalls that are in front of them that makes things more difficult. If you just separate everything in good modules, yeah, life is good. Life is really good in monolith land, let's say. These separation of good modules and clean code is not a term I really want to use, but I said it, so I cannot take it back. If you write those good modules, life is good. As a team, you become fast. You are productive. It's a joy to work in. So one of the key takeaways I want to give you is write good modules instead of microservices. And if you're still in an architecture meeting and you need a good name to convince your colleagues, let's create one. Let's call them modulets. So now you can convince your people that you're smart. You gave something a cool name. Now you can do this. And basically this like modules and monoliths concatenated together. But there is still some downsides. Like with the great power that OTP and the beam gives you, there's like one downside we really felt. And that's soft boundaries. There's nothing stopping you from sending a message to a process, of calling a module like 5 layers deep in your code. You have to be disciplined. I like to say, OTP doesn't stop you from shooting yourself in the foot. It just restarts the process afterwards. And a second reason that we came across was compliance was a bit of a headache for our team because we were so small. If you do some compliance stuff, your code base gets under scope. And although OTP and Beam gave us a lot of superpowers, because we were Superman, we met a villain. And this villain is PCI DSS. Basically, we had to handle raw card data, so raw credit card data. And when you handle this, the modules that handle this, if it's inside a code base, the whole code base is inside scope. For me, personally, as a developer, the main thing that bothers me was PRs, like reviewing PRs. It would take just longer because higher management had to look at the code that it was still compliant because I think it's a phrase in the PCI, the one operating the code cannot be the one who builds the code. Or if you want, just read the specifications. They say it better than me. But we had an idea. If this module that handles this is so difficult, why don't we split it? Why don't we create a separate service that does this? So a microservice. And actually, that helped us because we did the good modules. We already had it split. We had defined clear boundaries. We had an API. So we could split. We just had to put some Phoenix in front of it. But again, this was not the only thing we came up with. So you have these good modules, and sometimes your modules are so good that they become products. So suddenly, you created a product. And we had some products. We had some modules that did like card tokenization, orchestrating payments, and they were so good that clients came to us and we said, we don't actually need all of it, we just need that. So we took the modules and we created services. Or otherwise, you can always promote a module to a service when it's ready to leave home. Or you can give it the kid analogy. When you are lucky enough to become a parent, you don't put your child on the streets on day one. You wait until they are grown up and ready to live on their own. And this is also something I want to add. I didn't create a slide for that, but it's a note I want to add. Is like good architecture grows with your team, not ahead of it. So don't start with microservices. Start in a monolith, in a modulith. Create good modules, and when they are ready to leave home, let them. It's not something we shouldn't do. It's something we shouldn't do in the first place before. Just because, you know. So yeah, thank you for listening. I have no idea how I did on time.
No, you did really good. We have some time for quick questions here. I really had to think of Eric's talk earlier.
Yeah.
So we heard like in financial institutions, boundaries are important and software boundaries. So that's really great. It seems like there's some common waves here.
Yeah.
There's a first question.
How much was the meeting overhead reduced?
Oh. Well, now we have one meeting a day still, so we need to get rid of that. But yeah, like a lot of less headache, just less headache. You don't have all these like overheads. You don't have a ops team that needs to know everything you do. Like, oh yeah, we want to do some message passing. We need this MQ broker, or we need this database for this service because we felt like doing Mongo instead of Postgres. So yeah, it's better. Yeah.
And thank you so. Do we have a hand there?
Yeah.
How are you enforcing these soft boundaries? Is it at the level of a code review, or is it at the level of automated tooling like Boundary?
Yeah, Boundary is a good. It was something I was debating on adding, which is a good library. We didn't use it. We did it pure on discipline and like code reviews, but still, it sometimes bites you in the foot. Sometimes you're less careful. You're pressured by deadlines, and you make a mistake, which can happen. Which is also again a thing to say about why we split it, the compliance part away. Because if we needed to make changes, we were faster to do it in the rest of the code base that didn't need to be compliant. So we could make changes faster if we were not disciplined and made some mistakes. So yeah, but boundaries are good. We also tried umbrellas. But that was a whole other issue on its own. So yeah. Yeah.
Been there, felt that.
Been it, yeah.
Thank you so much, Diede.
Thank you.